I got a thought that I've been ruminating on that I haven't shared with you that I want to share with you now. Okay, so the kids talk about simping. You know what this word means? Someone, I just looked it up so I could get it right. Thursday, you can yell out if I'm wrong. Someone who obsesses over another person and goes to great lengths to please them, even if their feelings are not reciprocated.
Right. I've only heard it referred to refer to boys. Yeah. Right. Simping for some girl. Like he's such a simp. He's always over there trying to get attention from the girls.
Yeah.
It's unreciprocated attention to a woman from a man for the sake of from sexual attraction.
From a what?
Well, like due to sexual attraction.
Due to sexual attraction, kind of over affection. All right. So here's the thought. A lot of husbands fall into the trap of simping over their wives, simping for their wives. And what I mean is this. When we were children, we were dependent on our mother's body for
everything,
comfort, breast milk, and to be regulated. And then what happens is we don't grow up and we're still trying to regulate ourselves with the woman's body. And that might be through pornography.
Sure.
Right? But even if one has broken the habit of pornography, a man who is meant to lead his household and lead his wife can fall into the trap of being overly affectionate towards his wife because he's afraid of not having sex.
Okay.
So he comes off as, he's super kind to his wife. He's always really kind of like, but it's really because he's enslaved. Does that make sense? I'm not saying it well because I haven't thought it through that well, but I think there's something to it that, like, my primary responsibility and your primary responsibility is to lead our wife and our children to heaven. And that means making tough decisions. Sometimes it's going to mean putting our foot down or making tough decisions that maybe our wives don't like immediately. But when the man is so afraid of upsetting his wife, lest she make his life hell, either because she's erratic or just because she won't be as affectionate to him, then he bends over backwards and kind of negates his responsibility as father and husband for the sake of just not wanting sex to be denied him or something.
Yeah, and that's a fine line, right? Because what I know you're not saying is you should be some a-hole lording your authority over your wife.
That is what I am saying.
What did he say?
I'm just joking. No, I'm actually saying I want an actual ball and chain around her foot. Yeah, no, you heard me right. And I'm not going to apologize for it. That's where the manosphere will be in 3 years from now on YouTube. There will be men saying, no, I'm actually saying she should be chained to the bed. That is what I'm saying. And anything less than that is gay. Of course that's not what I'm saying.
And I struggle with this, right? Because my wife and I have a very traditional sort of division of labor, right? I do the outside stuff. I go to work. I do farm things. I do all of that. I make money. And then she stays at home and takes care of all the domestic stuff. And I honestly, and I'm not just saying this for like Catholic traditionalist points, I do not understand how households operate outside of that. And I'm not judging. Some people have to do that. I understand for financial reasons. Sometimes you have to have mom and dad work. I just don't understand how a household runs because I've been spoiled, right? It's always been like that in my household. But when this baby was born, we had a long period where we didn't have any children. We had some miscarriages and some of that in there. And then we had this baby, and it made me have to sort of reassess our whole dynamic and how the household runs, right? And so now Angie makes the dinner, and Angie used to make the dinner and do the dishes and all that stuff. Now Angie makes the dinner, and then I organize my little platoon of my older kids, and we clean the kitchen and clean the dishes and do all the things.
Because you're a good husband.
And, yeah. And so maybe I just don't even understand how I would define, and maybe you can't, whether a husband is like simping for his wife unless you're inside the guy's head, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's right. I don't think you can look at it from the outside and say that. Well, hey, let me try to think of an example, right? Like suppose, I don't know, suppose you're doing something on behalf of the family that is actually good.
Right.
But it's maybe a little initially frustrating with your wife. And so you forsake the thing that you know is actually what's best for her and your children.
Got you. Yeah.
For the sake of keeping the peace, quote unquote, because you're afraid of disrupting this.
I think that issue is all just a symptom of us as men being afraid to be the heads of our household.
Yeah.
Right.
Symptom. Nice.
Ayo.
Nice.
And that's something that I see. I was talking to somebody at Catholic Family Land the other day about this, about how many families I see on a regular basis, and everything, just sort of the circles I run in and the places that I go and people I talk to, where you have a really strong, on fire, overbearing mother, right? Not, maybe I shouldn't say overbearing, but one who is good, all about the faith and strong in the faith. And then a dad who's lukewarm or doesn't, or apathetic about the faith. And so you see this mother trying to be the spiritual head of the house, and it's a kiss of death, right? That's not how it runs. Ontologically speaking, right, by the nature of a father, he is the head of his household. If he's bad at it, his wife can't become the head of the household. You just have a disordered household, right? And when you say that, it sounds so much like some manosphere whatever thing. And I refuse to temper that with like, well, I'm the head, but my wife is the neck. She tells me which way to take. No, that's not true. I am the head of my household. And that's rightly ordered. And my wife would say that happily if she were here right now. And it's hard. It would be a lot easier to not do that. I mean, I can see the appeal of being like the sitcom dad from the 90s who's the bumbling idiot and his wife is really the one who takes care of everything. But we can't do that, not because of pride, but out of a sense of love for our spouse and our children and our family, right? Yeah.
You know, like we live in a day and age where marriage and gender roles, sexual roles, whatever you say, is such a debated topic. I feel like we have to almost treat the advice from both sides with a level of distrust. So because you've got people on one side who say, we don't actually know what women are, and marriage can mean two men, and sex can mean like masturbation. So we live in a society that doesn't know what men are, women are, sex is, marriage is. So their advice coming from what we would say more as the left, we don't want to listen to. But then I also notice advice that I'm getting from the right that I really don't want to listen to. I was listening to a podcast recently that was talking about the evils of feminism, where the man actually said that he refuses to change his children's diaper. That's his wife's job. And I think that sounds like a deep insecurity you have. And you know, you should just do your duty, and you should, of course, like what you said, you rally the troops and you clean the kitchen because you love your wife and you do what's best for her. So I almost want to kind of go back to, okay, what were people saying before this became a contested issue? Let's look at what their advice is. And that's why I put a lot of stock in people like St. John Chrysostom's commentary on Ephesians 5 and things like this, because things weren't insane then.
And the wife, though seeming to be the loser in that she was charged to fear, is the gainer, because the principal duty, love, is charged upon the husband. But what, one may say, if a wife reverence me not? Never mind. Thou art to love, fulfill thine own duty. Just so, I say, it is also here, let the wife at least, though she be not loved, still reverence notwithstanding, that nothing may lie at her door, and let the husband, though his wife reverence him not, still show her love notwithstanding, that he himself be not wanting in any point.
Funny story of when I came to your house once and your wife was away and you asked me to run your dishwasher because you didn't know.
No, I didn't ask you to run the dishwasher. You said, this dishwasher's full, we should do the dishes. And I was like, great.
Do you know how to do it?
And I said,
I don't know how to do it, is what you said.
Yeah.
And
what I still have no idea how to run the dishwasher.
And the reason that's okay, right, is because you hunt and butcher your own animals and feed your wife and children with them. It would not be okay for me to be like that. So what I mean is this. If you're a fella insisting that women have these traditional gender roles, but you are just like a red pill streamer and your job is just to get more local supporters and Patreon supporters, like there's nothing wrong with being a streamer, but to sit there, not know how to use a hammer and insist that women act like they did back in the 40s while you don't, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But that's, I was okay with you being like that because you actually do fit into these stereotypical male gender.
I'm just a big believer, and I'm sure this comes up all the time, but the whole Chesterton's fence thing. And if, I guess, sort of a more simplified version of that is, if everybody did it 150 years ago, we should probably still do it. Not always, right?
Racism.
I was literally about to say slavery's bad, right? Okay. But there was probably a good reason, because if we did 150 years ago, we probably did 150 years before that, and we probably did 1,000 years before that, so on and so forth, right? And so we really need to think about the why before we start throwing stuff out.
Chesterton's gate or wall idea.
Sure.
His is, if you're going to tear down a wall or a gate, you should know what it's there for.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of my bride, though.
I want to tell you about a course that I have created for men to overcome pornography. It is called strive21.com. strive.com/Matt. You go there right now, or if you text strive to 66866, we'll send you the link. It's 100% free, and it's a course I've created to help men, to give them the tools to overcome pornography. Usually men know that porn is wrong. They don't need me or you to convince them that it's wrong. What they need is a battle plan to get out. And so I've distilled all that I've learned over the last 15 or so years as I've been talking and writing on this topic into this one course. Think of it as if you and I could have a coffee over the next 21 days and I would kind of guide you along this journey. That's basically what this is. It's incredibly well produced. We had a whole camera crew come and film this. And I think it'll be a real help to you. And it's also not an isolated course that you go through on your own, because literally tens of thousands of men have now gone through this course. And as you go through the different videos, there's comments from men all around the world encouraging each other, offering to be each other's accountability partners and things like that. Strive21, that's strive21.com/Matt, or as I say, text strive to 66866 to get started today. You won't regret it.